I'm Brian Billing with the Dayton Daily News, and I'm about to fly in the Goodyear Blimp. The Goodyear Blimp is at the Dayton Air Show this weekend, and it flew from its base near Akron to Waco Air Museum in Troy on Friday, ahead of the weekend's festivities at Dayton International Airport. Select people were able to ride in the blimp around Troy on Friday afternoon, including a group of media members. The blimp flew around Troy, the county seat of Miami County. Before our flight, we watched the blimp land and leave at Waco on other flights. I talked with Jake Jones, who spoke about his experience on a flight just before mine.
It's pretty smooth, but there's times where you're dipping, it almost feels like you're on the water. But the views are just amazing. And every pilot I talked to while I was there, it's like their dream job.
We were given a safety presentation before being guided to the landing spot by Goodyear personnel. Only 6 people and 2 pilots were on each flight. The blimp is filled with helium, and to keep a constant load balance, one passenger would disembark from the previous flight, then a new passenger from the next flight would enter the aircraft. We weren't allowed to film while boarding or exiting for safety reasons. Once on board, we sat in seats similar to commercial airlines and buckled our seatbelts during departure. We then took off and enjoyed a flight around Troy, including 2 loops around its downtown near the Great Miami River. Goodyear Blimp Chief Pilot Michael Doherty talked about the unique flying experience of the aircraft.
So the blimp is a little bit of airplane, a little bit of helicopter, and a lot of boat in the sky. So when we take off and land, it's a vertical takeoff and landing like a helicopter is. Once we get up and flying, the control is a lot like an airplane, but it kind of meanders around in the sky on the air currents like a boat would float on the ocean. A typical pilot at Goodyear would fly between 250 and about 400 hours a year, depending on our operations load and how many events we do in a year.
We were in the air for about 30 minutes over Troy, then returned to Waco, disembarked, and got our legs back under us after roaming around the aircraft while taking pictures and video during flight. The next group loaded, and flights over Troy continued Friday evening. The Dayton Air Show takes place this Saturday and Sunday. Follow the Dayton Daily News all weekend long.